I'm going to interview our championship winner, but you just don't know until it's over. And you know what? He would have only needed fourth if it weren't for the fastest lap being stolen like that. That is so weird. I believe we've just seen what we saw. Can you believe your eyes? One last effort in the Casio triangle he had to pull off rather than staying in fourth, which he would have been okay with. I'm very interested to see what Zora had to say here, why he did it. Titan said his game crashed before he started to start the final lap, so that's what stopped him. But there was lots of attempts. This is what happened. Goatly wondering, why did Neski squeeze? Well, really, you know, it's to cause the driver to go off and do what happened with the Aston there. Yeah, Zoro stole a fast lap without knowing it was needed, so that's the situation there. Holy cow. And Egg just made it clear to me, don't put out any stats regarding who won the title. It will be decided in the stewards room. That is how this is going to go. That's wild. Well, I don't mind giving our two title contenders throughout the season an interview at all. They have the streamer account added, I believe, or at least I have them added, so they can join. I'm totally fine with interviewing both of them if they would like, but a season this has been. You just gotta wonder, with the controversy in Brazil, the drive-through from Spa, in the case of Turbo, you know, there's many things we can look back at this championship for in positive and negative ways toward both these drivers, but last week probably got the most hectic of really at all, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Well, really the stewards report, because that's going to be how it's decided, and well, now you really don't know. Even if it gets decided by the stewards room, still going to be the closest tier 3 title regardless, because George's was not as close at all, and it did not go down to the final race or the final lap or the final set of corners. So you just gotta wonder in the stewards room what does happen. But we do have our provisional championship. Uri, it's good to have you. Make sure your audio is included. You've been told not to celebrate early. I want to ask, at least with that being said, you know, you got a major glitch last week in, instead of landing in you know, Salty Springs or, you know, Anarchy Acres, you landed in under the map in Brazil last week, and it really did not go your way. You were very frustrated by it and kind of almost forgot the situation you were in, and then you came into this week having to serve the qualifying ban due to penalty points. You were already on the back foot. You got damage on lap 1 or so. What happened to have that happen 2 weeks in a row in the race and not have it really start off the way you would have wanted it to?
Well, last week there wasn't really anything I could do about it, you know. And now lap 1 this week, I basically forgot that the back of the field in tier 3 is quite slow. So I didn't slow down as much for turn 1 as I should have and got damage. My fault.
Now I've got to ask, you know, you had to go through the field and you saw drivers falling out of places. You saw some people fight you hard, some people not fight you so hard. You probably had people coaching you on, talking about the situation. I would have to assume with your situation, did you think you could at least get there to have a chance within the final few laps for the title?
Well, after seeing the gap after the pit stop, when I had to repair my front wing, I really thought that there was no chance anymore without the safety car, because the gap was like over 10 seconds, I think. So I just tried my best, and the pace was amazing, really. I didn't think that that pace was possible. And then in the end, I think it was Polish who got damage, and he was defending me with a broken front wing for like an entire lap, for I don't know what reason. And even then, I still got DRS again, and my own academy teammate gave DRS to an Aston Martin and took the fastest lap away from me, which basically possibly lost me the championship. So I have to thank him for that. And yeah, I think whatever happens, we know what happened last week. I was kind of robbed of 18 points. So if I lose it by 1 point today, I think I know who deserves it.
Yeah, I've got to ask about that fastest lap attempt from your academy teammate Zora. He said he didn't know it was needed, and everyone's not really happy with him in the academy. What did you think when you saw him not getting out of the way and then get fastest lap there? Because really, your move for third was not needed if he did not take fastest lap, because you were the one who had it. You had the extra point that was needed.
Yeah, and if he didn't take it, I had a VR behind me, and Alex knew that I needed a podium, so, or a P4 with fastest lap, so he knew that he would just had to stay behind. So basically, I would have a free championship, but Zora decided no. And yeah, I mean, then in the end, of course, there was really nothing else than just dive bomb the Aston Martin. And actually, I still think that it wasn't a dirty dive bomb. I just went in, and the Aston Martin turned into me like 50 meters before the corner, just under braking. And yeah, I was obviously very mad when Zora was ghosting through me.
So I've got to ask about the last sector with what happened. I mean, you know what was on the line. You could call it a move out of desperation. Fair or foul, that's up to the stewards to decide. But what did you think there? You went for the move. The Aston tried to cover it. He went off track and kept the place. What do you think is going to happen there now? Do you think you're going to get penalized? Do you think the Aston is going to get the penalty removed or reduced? If it's reduced, the title still goes to you. If you don't get a penalty from it, though, you still get the title as well. If the Aston doesn't get the penalty fully removed. There's a lot that goes on, and as Egg told me, it's going to be decided in the stewards room. What do you think of it all with the whole last lap? It was a thrilling season, definitely, that was on the line, and it's great that it came down to this. As a commentator and an entertainer and a spectator, but not probably for your sake that it came down to this.
No, I really would prefer having an easy race than just go to the finish line in a podium place, so I had the championship. But no, I think what should happen is that he gets the penalty, not removed, but like from 10 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, because he still cut the corner, or maybe, I don't know, like 3 seconds. But I went for a space, the space was there, and I would have easily made the corner if he didn't turn into me and just hit my entire car. So I hope the stewards also take into account the situation and what happened last week maybe, but yeah, it's a different incident, so they won't.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Understandable. I was just gonna say, sorry to cut you off.
No,
I was
no
just gonna say, your championship rival Turbo, both you from the same country, you both have a lot of respect from one another. I don't know if you read the messages when coming back into the server after you left Thursday night last week after the Fortnite glitch happened to you. I must say, if you were not here coming back to the league, I know Turbo was thinking of not racing or not scoring any points to really think about how, the title should have not been won the way it would have been won if you had left the league. I've got to ask about your championship rival Turbo, both you from the same country, both you having great battles throughout the season, both you being the class of the field. Do you have anything you want to say about him or to him, or any thoughts really from this whole season-long battle with him that could be decided in your favor or even his favor?
I mean, I know we both enjoyed the battle, even though it could have ended like in a fight between us on track or something like that. And I was actually in Discord with him right before you invited me to the party. And since I was the one who invited him to the league, so we were actually in Discord in every single race of the season. And yeah, I mean, we are very similar on pace, so we always have a good fight. And about when he said that he wouldn't race if I didn't rejoin the league. Yeah, I know he wouldn't because he knows good sportsmanship. I hope I explained that in English well. But yeah, I do have a lot of respect for him as a driver.
And Uriah, I've got to ask, the first season you were teammates with George, your name and your language being George. I mean, if you win the title, I'm sure you find that fitting. I definitely love you to tell me about it. But one thing I want to ask before you tell me about it is the inconsistency you had last season when you came here. You had definitely a lot of races when you were in the RB and really performing well, even qualifying well, qualifying on the front row at one point in Silverstone. You had races in the Red Bull where you were up there and then not, and definitely a lot of things were questioned with that. Finally, you broke through the season, got your first win, now have the most poles in the tier, and a lot of other great things. Do you think really you've learned from the inconsistencies, and this league has definitely helped you develop as a driver? What do you kind of think in that aspect?
Yeah, I think the biggest improvement thanks to this league is that I learned how to race at the front. Because before RPL Tier 3, I actually never raced in a bad league. So I always raced in the midfield or as a back marker. So yeah, I think this helped me a lot to deal with pressure of leading a race and stuff like that. And yeah, also of course consistency. But I'm not sure if I can say that after getting front wing damage on lap 1 today.
Yeah, I get where you're at with that being said. Oh my word, this headset that fell off my head. I gotta fix this headset. Anyways, my last question for you, before I get to one of the questions from the chat, if not maybe two, if anyone else has any. What would you say your favorite moment was from the season from Tier 3?
I think the race in the Netherlands. When there was a safety car, me and Turbo were a different strategy. And for some reason we picked softs instead of hards, and when we could have just easily gone to the end of the race on hards. But yeah, I did the two-stop against one-stoppers. That was something I really enjoyed, especially catching up to the front. I think it was Goatley and Mercedes, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, catching them 2 laps before the end of the race. That was really what I enjoyed the most.
And Tier 2 next season, what do you think is going to happen there now for you? How do you think that's going to go?
Well, if I don't get demoted from Red Bull to V-Carb after 2 races, all I will do is probably learn how to drive in Tier 2, learn about the drivers, and I just hope that I will consistently be finishing the races top 5, top 6 maybe, and I will try to help Gog if he's in a championship fight.
All right. I got 2 questions from the Twitch chat to have you answer now. Zora's wondering, do you hate him? Because I guess from whatever's happened in the Red Bull Academy server, there's a lot of people who don't like him right now, and I understand why. How do you feel about the situation? Because I guess from what he said, he did not realize that, you had fastest lap, needed it really to win in that P4 spot. What do you feel with Zora right now, currently, with what had happened?
I mean, I'm obviously angry if I lose the championship, but no, I mean everyone makes mistakes, and the championship wasn't lost in this one point for the fastest lap. The championship was lost last week in Brazil, and then with my drive-through in Belgium and 5 seconds in Monza and stuff like that. So of course, I'm not going to be happy about it. But no, I don't hate Zora or anything like that. Mistakes happen.
And then one question from F1 Shorts. He's wondering, what was the most fun race to drive this season for you? I'm going to guess that was Zandvoort when you were talking about the 2-stop.
Yeah, I think it was Zandvoort, and also I would say fighting in Monza with Turbo and SV, even though I got a 5-second penalty after the race. And even now, Japan, the second stint when I didn't have front wing damage, I really enjoyed catching the 12-second gap or something.
I'll I'll ask an additional question that I've just thought of since what F1 Shorts had asked, because I know you already answered basically before he asked that, your favorite race, your most fun one. What would you say was the least one? Would you say last week was the least favorite one when you got hit with the map glitch?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it caused you to leave the league. I mean, it should be a,
Yeah.
it should be a no-brainer.
I also got front wing damage on lap 1
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I went on softs, thinking about like how I'm going to quickly be at the front again because I invalidated both my laps in qualifying, and I didn't realize that the pace difference between me on softs and Haas's and Sauber's on hards will be quite big. So I just went into the back of someone, basically the same mistake as I did now in Japan. And yeah, then I also didn't like Belgium because I got to drive through and then basically was just waiting for a safety car that never came.
Yeah. Well, if you do keep the title in the stewards room, congrats. If you don't, it was a great season, and I definitely hope to see you continue in Tier 2. Whether it's Red Bull or V-Carb, I definitely would love to see what you're able to do here continuously for sure. Turbo, we tried to get an interview with him because, of course, he could potentially win the championship pending the stewards report. With whatever happens there, Egg, the tier coordinator, said this will be decided in the stewards room. Turbo politely declined as he said he not speaking English, so he felt like it'd be embarrassing. But I'm glad you had to go with this, though. So, it was very good, both of you from the same country. Definitely, I don't even know how to say the name. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but definitely some heritage for it, which is very nice for the sake of RPL. Nonetheless, we've got some races to finish out the weekend and some championships still to be decided, whether it's constructors or drivers. We have F2, Tier 2, F1, all in Abu Dhabi. Tier 2 tomorrow, F2 and F1 on Saturday. And then our next Tier 3 event, or event related to Tier 3 drivers, will be the Showcase event, which will be next week, 7 p.m. UK time, which should be tons of fun. We have 6 Tier 3 drivers separating that. In fact, 6 drivers from each tier. The 6 drivers from this tier would be Uri, Turbo, Goatley, Ardell, Invade, and Neski, which is probably the best 6 drivers we probably could have representing. I don't think of anybody we could add that would definitely change that for sure. They did really good with that. And Mally41 and Owen, two OGs of RPL, will be commentating that